Hey everyone, and welcome back to Becoming Ultimate Masters. We always dive deep into these topics that can really help you level up your life, and today we're tackling something I think a lot of you guys out there can relate to. It's that feeling you get when you have these big dreams, but then sometimes you hit a wall on the way to reaching them.
Oh, yeah. It's like you've got this amazing roadmap to your dream life, but you're kind of driving in circles. You're putting in the work, but not really moving forward.
Exactly. And to help us break free from that cycle, we're going to turn to a classic book called Wake Up and Live by Dorothea Brande. It was written way back in 1936, but honestly, the advice is still so relevant today.
It's true. One of the most interesting concepts in the book is this idea of the will to fail. It sounds a bit intense, right? But Brandy's point is that sometimes we actually put so much energy into accidentally sabotaging ourselves that we could be using that same energy to succeed.
Wait, so you're saying there's a part of us that wants to fail?
Yeah.
Like on purpose?
Not consciously, of course. It's more like this hidden force that pulls us towards staying comfortable instead of taking on the challenge of growing. She calls it the paralysis of the will. Think of it this way. Imagine you're invited to this awesome party, but instead of getting ready and heading out, you end up cleaning your room, scrolling through social media, or suddenly feeling super sleepy.
Oh man, I've totally been there. Procrastination is my middle name.
Oh,
But are you saying those are signs of this will to fail thing?
they can be. It's not about being lazy or intentionally messing up. It's more about unconsciously choosing the easier path, even if it means you're stuck in a rut.
So how do we know if we're falling into this trap? Everyone procrastinates sometimes, right?
Sure, but it's all about recognizing the patterns. For example, let's say you have a big test coming up. Do you find yourself cramming at the last minute, even though you know it just stresses you out? Or maybe you always need someone to reassure you before making a decision, even when deep down you already know the answer.
Whoa, that's me. I always ask everyone for their opinion, even when I already know what I want to do. It's like I'm afraid to trust myself.
That's exactly what Brandy is talking about. We can be so afraid of failing or being criticized that we end up stopping ourselves before we even start.
But why would failing ever feel rewarding? It doesn't make sense.
It's not that failing feels good, but dodging the effort, the risk, the possibility of being judged, that can feel like a relief in the moment. It's like this. You're trying out for the school play, but you're terrified of not getting the part. So unconsciously, you don't really try your best, because then if you don't get in, you can always tell yourself it's because you didn't try hard enough.
Wow, that's like a serious mind game. So we're basically creating these safety nets for our egos, even if it means missing out on amazing opportunities.
It's something we all do, especially when you're dealing with pressure from school friends and even family. Failing can feel like a way to avoid all that, to just blend in.
Okay, I'm starting to see how this will to fail can sneak up on you. But we can't just give in to it, right? How do we actually shift gears and start moving towards success?
Brittany has some really practical advice for that, and it all starts with realizing that success is actually the natural way of life. Think about it. Plants grow, animals evolve. Humans are always learning and adapting. It's built into us to strive for something more.
So it's like we're literally designed for growth and achievement. But sometimes it feels like we're fighting against our own nature.
That's where making a conscious effort comes in. Brandy says we need to actively choose to grow instead of staying stuck. It's about stepping outside our comfort zone and embracing those challenges. It's about realizing that feeling uncomfortable is often a sign that we're stretching ourselves and heading in the right direction.
I like that. Instead of being afraid of discomfort, we should see it as a sign that we're on the path to something awesome. But how do we actually make that shift happen? It's easy to say choose growth, but actually doing it's a whole other story.
That's where the power of imagination comes in. And I'm not talking about the kind of imagination that leads to daydreaming. I'm talking about the kind that helps you actually visualize your success. Imagine yourself achieving your goals. Feel those emotions. See the details as if it's already happening.
Wait, are you saying that just imagining something can make it more likely to happen? It sounds too good to be true.
It's not magic, but it's pretty powerful. When you visualize yourself succeeding, you're building new connections in your brain, making it easier to believe in yourself and actually take action. Think about it. If you can see yourself confidently giving that presentation in class, you're less likely to freeze up when the time comes because your brain has already practiced the experience.
That's amazing. So we're basically rewiring our brains for success just by using our imagination. But what if my goals feel absolutely huge and overwhelming? How could I possibly visualize something that seems so far off?
Brande suggests breaking down those massive goals into smaller, manageable steps. Start by just visualizing the first step, then the next, and so on. It's like climbing a mountain. You don't focus on reaching the summit the entire time. You focus on your next foothold, your next handhold, and before you know it, you've made it to the top.
So it's about taking it one step at a time, focusing on the process instead of getting overwhelmed by that final goal. That makes so much more sense. But what about setting those goals in the first place? How do we even know what we should be aiming for?
That's where your personal code of conduct comes in. What are your values? What do you stand for? What kind of impact do you want to have on the world? What makes you feel truly alive and excited? Once you have a clear idea of your values, your goals will naturally flow from that.
Okay, so it's not about chasing what everyone else thinks is important. It's about figuring out what matters to me and creating a life that reflects those values.
Yeah,
It's so empowering.
exactly. True success is always about contributing something valuable to the world, no matter how big or small that contribution might be. It could be volunteering in your community, supporting a friend through a tough time, or simply striving to be the best version of yourself.
I love that. It's not about achieving some impossible goal. It's about making a difference even in small ways. And I think that's really inspiring, especially for young people who are just figuring out where they fit in.
It's about recognizing that you have the power to create positive change, both in your own life and in the lives of others. And to help you do that, Brande outlines 12 practical exercises. She calls them disciplines. They're like mental workouts to strengthen your willpower and basically reprogram your mind for success.
Mental workouts. Okay, curious. Tell me more about these disciplines. Which ones do you think would be especially helpful for young adults and high school students who are, juggling a million things at once?
Well, one that might surprise you is practicing silence. It's not about becoming a monk or anything. It's more about choosing your words carefully and learning to control those impulsive things you might say.
Wait, are you saying that talking less can help me succeed?
Think about it. How much energy do we waste complaining, gossiping, or overthinking things out loud? That's energy you could be using to actually solve problems and take action.
Whoa, I never thought about it that way. It's like we're leaking energy through our words.
Exactly. Brandes suggests trying to go a full hour without speaking unless it's absolutely necessary. It's a tough challenge, but it forces you to become more aware of your words and to choose them carefully.
I can see how that would be super valuable, especially in a world where we're constantly overloaded with information and distractions. It's like creating space for clarity and focus.
Exactly. And that clarity is essential for making good decisions and taking effective action.
So we're back and ready to keep exploring these awesome ideas from Dorothea Brande's Wake Up and Live. We've been talking about this hidden will to fail and how we can start shifting gears towards success.
Yeah, now we're going to get even more practical, talking about actual tools and techniques we can use to break free from self-sabotage and really reach our goals. It's one thing to understand the problem, but it's another thing to actually change our behavior.
Exactly. And Brande is all about taking action, right? Not just thinking positive thoughts. She compares it to training